Okay everybody, welcome back to the first review following Body Power 2019, and it's going to be Xplosive Ape, their new pre-workout. Now, a lot of you will know Xplosive Ape. It's a brand that's been around for a while. They've got a very loyal following. Traditionally, they make strongman powerlifting equipment, and they've got a really cool apparel line as well. Recently, they've moved into the supplement market. They've dropped protein and they've dropped an EAA formula, and this is their first pre-workout, the X edition. Now, there's nothing on the tub or the labeling or the marketing for this product that suggests that it is exclusively for powerlifters or strongmen, but whenever a brand that's synonymous with those areas drops a supplement, the expectation is always that it's going to be for those people. So the same thing happened with Predominate by Big Ben and the initial formula of the Tom Stoltman Boom product by Strom Nutrition. So the expectation is that the consumer base for this is going to be similar to the consumer base for the products and the clothing, which means it's going to be primarily strongmen and powerlifters. And I think that was reflected by the people who volunteered for the tests. Now, as always, we've got a panel of independent testers who signed up to test the new Xplosive Ape pre-workout. I've taken this for a week, and we also sent the formula to Richard Foster, owner of Strom Sports Nutrition, for his expert formula breakdown. There's one or two things I wanted to discuss before we get to the public testers with this one though. Xplosive Ape put the original formula for this product up on their Instagram. Now, that initial formula contained a stimulant which is banned in the UK. That was later withdrawn and it was replaced with Grains of Paradise. It's good to see that Xplosive Ape caught that in time and changed the formula before the product went to production. The other issue is that the initial batch that came with this had a bit of a scoop issue. There was a 20-gram scoop sent out with this. They made me aware of that, and I think when we sent the samples out, I made sure to weigh all of them. It's a real issue in the industry. I know in a couple of brands that this has happened to. The product we're going to be looking at next week, Prepare by JP, have had a similar issue with their manufacturer, and it really is a problem. As always, we've got a panel of independent testers, and they're going to tell you what they think of Xplosive Ape's first pre-workout. This is our review of X Edition.
Smells nice. There's not too much visible residue. A little bit left at the bottom from what I can see. Swirl that around with a bit of water. Tastes fine, doesn't go down bad. It's a little bit bitty, doesn't really mix very well. Other than that, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's nice.
Those of you who know me know how much I love Xplosive Ape stuff, so I'm praying that this is going to be good. Mixability. Oh man, it's not. Doesn't matter though. Doesn't matter. Normally, I don't ever normally mix pre-workouts. Normally it's straight to the dome. Oh, it looks pretty grainy. Let's get the taste. Not great. Not great at all.
Orange and mango flavour. Mixability, not amazing. Still got a few bits floating around in it. Let's see what it tastes like. That's actually quite pleasant. Not bad. More orange than mango, but yeah, good start.
It didn't mix particularly well. There was a lot of sediment in the bottom, but you get over that. It didn't smell particularly nice either, but it tasted very pleasant. Orange mango flavour. So, tastes better than it smells, which is always a bonus.
The smell of it wasn't the best, but surprisingly the taste was actually really good. It's definitely orange and mango flavour. The mixability wasn't great at all. It was almost like there was a dark sand in the shaker, but then when you came to drink it, there wasn't any bits in it. So I suppose that's alright. It just didn't look the best. It looked literally like you were just going to drink some sand.
It mixed really, really well. I prefer to have my pre-workout with very little water. So sometimes I'll just put the powder straight in my mouth, big gulp of water straight down, and then start warming up for squats or bench or whatever I'm doing on that day.
Here you go, Xplosive Ape, orange and mango. My initial thoughts are it does not look like a pre-workout. It looks a lot more like sand. Smells nice. Not had an orange and mango flavour. I'm normally blue raspberry. It's probably worth noting this isn't a proper ball shaker. It's one of those little filter ones. 4 hours later. The lid test. Tastes decent. Considering it looked like sand, it's not bitty at all. It tastes nice. Lovely. Not much more you can say. Half the pre-workouts that I've had have all been crappy, not to mention Rage. All the lower brand ones make you feel like you have to just neck it and get it down here. This is actually quite nice. I could happily drink this as a normal drink.
You know what? It gave you a nice buzz. You weren't overstimmed, you were just awake, focused, you knew what you were doing. Give you that little bit of extra boost. Now, I'm used to taking quite a lot of stims anyway. I'd take ABE, 1.5 scoops, PR3 Colt Coopers, pre-workout. So to say, oh, like just I'm taking it easy on the pre-workouts that week, that's perfect. Perfect for me. Works, gives that little bit of an extra buzz, bit of an extra edge. Sound.
It's good. It's so good. Yeah, buzzing. So who cares what it tastes like? Who cares what the mixability's like? It is absolutely top drawer, Xplosive Ape. Unreal. It is absolutely sublime. Energy levels right up there. Sustainable energy is up there. Unreal pump, focus. It is absolutely quality. The pre-workout's out now. Go get some. I know I'm going to. Xplosive Ape. They're the best. End of.
Thoughts on Xplosive Ape? It's good. No mad rush, very clean energy. Focus was good. Pump was good, nothing mad. Lifted some good weights. Training longer than normal. And would I buy it again? Yes, I would. Definitely. Yeah.
Performance-wise, it was a leg session and it got me through it quite nicely. There was no heavy hit of stims. This one was a nice, steady rise and really sort of energy and focus, and there was no horrible crash. Like I say, got through the session on it quite nicely and felt good throughout. So at the moment, after my initial trial of it, I would say it's a pretty good pre-workout, good all-rounder.
The workout itself was disappointing, I'll be honest. So basically, I felt like the pre-workout, it made me sweat about 16 times more than I normally would, but it gave me like a weird hyper focus, but the focus wasn't on what I was doing. The focus was making me want to look around and looking at everything else, and there was no concentration with it basically. I wouldn't buy it. I've had the second one, and the second sachet was exactly the same again, so maybe it just isn't for me, but overall I wouldn't rate it. I wouldn't have it myself again.
Kept me really focused, got a few new PBs, which is good, always good, especially when you're trying a new pre-workout. It did keep me really focused towards like the end. You always get a bit fatigued. To be fair, I could go back and carry on, just crack out another session. Definitely would recommend this. I got itchy eyes for maybe 5 seconds, and that was after I'd done my PB, so obviously the blood rushing straight to my head. I think I'll have to go get myself a tub because that stuff is primo.
It really sort of got me going, but it didn't make me feel sick. I mean, I've had some pre-workouts in the past and you sort of get to sort of your second or third set in and you can feel your stomach's not feeling great, and then you have to end up drinking lots of water to try and sort of dilute what you've got in your stomach, and it's really makes you feel a bit unwell. But this is really, really good, and it really does help. I would definitely recommend it to anyone out there, especially strongman and powerlifters in the gym. If you've had a long day and you know you've got a heavy session, just have a quick scoop or two, and then just get straight into it, to be fair.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. So that's what the public had to say about X Edition, but what's in it? For the formula breakdown, we turn to Richard Foster, owner of Strom Sports Nutrition.
Good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Richard Foster. Welcome to Strom. It does sound a little bit like Battersea Dog's Home in here at the moment. Unfortunately, they're having an open day next door, but shouldn't hear too much of that. Today, the supplement review have asked me to have a look at Xplosive Ape's new pre-workout. It's an interesting one. If we were judging it as a bodybuilding pre-workout, there's a few things that you might question, a little bit like with Primal. The dosing of citrulline malate, for example, is only 4,000 milligrams, which you might deem to be a little bit low. However, Xplosive Ape's primary demographic is powerlifting and strongman, and too much of a pump can be massively unhelpful for those sports. So we've got to judge the product based on its intended purpose, which is powerlifting and strongman. So we're room for the formula from top to bottom. Citrulline malate, 4,000 milligrams at a 2-to-1 ratio. Glycerol in a 1-to-1 ratio of mono to hydromax. So you've got 1 gram of patented hydromax in there and 1 gram of glycerol monosterate, giving you 2,000 milligrams total. Creatine HCl, 2,000 milligrams. Creatine HCl is one of the only forms of creatine that I actually like to see in a pre-workout, and 2,000 milligrams is a very good dose. Beta-alanine at 1.8 grams, 1,800 milligrams, is half of the clinical dosing. I don't know why that is. I haven't had a chance to speak to Xplosive Ape to ask why that decision was made. It's possible it could be to reduce the paracentesis, the tingling effect that some people dislike. It might just be that that was the amount of space they had left in the scoop, or it could be another reason entirely, but judged upon the information we've got, that is underdosed. 500 milligrams of NACL tyrosine, it's a decent dose. You see higher, you see lower. It's certainly not an ineffective dose like you sometimes see it, like 50 or 100 milligrams. But it's a reasonable place to be. Choline, 500 milligrams, again, half of what you'll see in some products, but significantly more in others. An effective dose, if not an over-the-top one. Phenylalanine, 500 milligrams, again, very good. Then we get to the stimulant parts of the product. Now, a product like a hardcore pre-workout for powerlifters, strongman, you would expect it to be very, very stim heavy, and they don't disappoint. 300 milligrams of caffeine, pretty standard. 300 milligrams of citrus bioflavonoids. Citrus bioflavonoids contain compounds that are very similar to ephedra. 250 milligrams of Euphoria Longana, which is a novel stim. 150 milligrams of guarana, standardized for 22% caffeine. So you've got another kind of 30-ish milligrams of caffeine from that. You've got some B vitamins, you've got some grains of paradise. It's a very cool ingredient that gives you a real sense of calm focus. 10 milligrams of bioperine helps with, we've talked about it a lot of times before, bioperine inhibits an enzyme in your urinary tract, and the inhibition of that enzyme allows compounds to stay in your bloodstream for longer. The really interesting ingredient, the bit that stands out and the bit that will make this product feel different to nearly everything else on the market is Silicium torticeum. I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation of it. It is a novel stimulant. It's almost like a legal high. The only other product I've seen it in is Chemex. You've got 25 milligram serving of that, which is a good dose, and it's very euphoric, it's very strong. Now, we don't know how much is in Chemex because it's a prop blend, but the feedback from people who have tried this pre-workout is that it's very strong, very potent, and that's what I would expect. So not too much of a pump, not a huge amount in there in terms of pump agents. You've got some ergogenic benefits from the creatine HCl, the beta-alanine, the NACL tyrosine, but primarily what you've got is a stim-heavy, very value-for-money based pre-workout, which I believe also tastes quite good. So if you are doing strongman, you're doing powerlifting, you want a good kick up the arse, this may well be a very, very solid option for you.
Okay, so what that's left is for me to give you my thoughts. I took this for a week and I enjoyed it. I felt that this was definitely one of the more stim-heavy products on the market, and to be honest, it's one of the few products that actually kept me up at night after I tried it. If I took this about 6 o'clock when I normally take my pre-workout, I definitely had a little bit of struggle sleeping. Now, I was lucky enough to get both flavors. Orange and mango I think was probably my favorite, but the Tutti Frutti is actually quite nice as well. It's not a product that tastes terrible. In fact, I quite like the flavor, but the sediment is a bit of an issue. But if you can let that put you off a pre-workout, then really, you probably shouldn't be taking one. Now, one thing I did notice is that I sweat quite a lot when I take this. I wasn't sure whether that's something thermogenic in the pre-workout or as a result of me training a little bit harder. But yeah, I enjoyed my sessions on this. If you're a fan of the brand and you want to support them, I definitely recommend it. It's properly dosed for most things, but apart from the bizarre 1.8 grams of beta-alanine, really doesn't make much sense to me. One thing I do have to take issue with is it says 60 servings, it's a 30 serving tub. Realistically, anybody who buys a pre-workout from a brand like Xplosive Ape is gonna double scoop this. It's something I pick a lot of brands up on, but yeah, I don't like seeing that. Price-wise, I found this on Gym Power for £34, which is good when you think about 30 double scoop servings. It's a little bit over £1 a serving. Pretty decent price in my opinion. Strength-wise, I'm gonna say it's gonna go about here on the board. It's upper level of strong for sure. And on the overall leaderboard, I think it goes somewhere around here, in my personal opinion. Okay, in conclusion, yeah, I think it's a solid product. I enjoyed training on this. It's definitely gonna stay in the kit bag for when I fancy something a little bit different. If you're a fan of the brand and you wanna support the guys in their supplement endeavors, then yeah, I think it's a solid choice. You're gonna have to be somebody who wants a high stim product and somebody that isn't gonna be training too close to bedtime, in my personal opinion. But yeah, you can find this now at Gym Power. I think there's a bunch of other retailers that have it. Strangely, it's not on Xplosive Ape Nutrition's website. I'm sure the guys will catch up with themselves, but yeah, it's a thumbs up from the supplement review.